Hello everyone, welcome to Cabbage Patch Soap. My name is Laura and today we are going to be making more of this cold process liquid soap. We're going to be doing the next step. I'm just going to give everybody a minute and I'm going to adjust my chat settings to make sure I can see you guys. Hi Ian. Ian, hi Stacy. You didn't beat me here. Nice try. Just barely, just barely. Alrighty. Okay, looks like I can see the chats. You did? Okay, then you did. I guess me sitting here staring at the timer waiting for it to go off doesn't count. Hi Patty, hi Lorna, welcome. Maybe I should go live at random times to preemptively strike. Throw off your phone timer. Okay, I won't. Alrighty, so just gonna start moving some stuff aside here. Let's first check the batch that we added water to last time. So this is the batch we added a little extra color into, and we added some water, we added the pumice, and we also added the, where did I leave off? The water, the color, and the pumice. Okay. Oh yeah, and the orange oil. So as you can see, it actually did thicken up again. Remember how runny it was before? Now it's like I don't know, almost like pudding. And I'm just kind of checking to see if that grit stayed suspended. It looks like the fine grit definitely did. I don't know about the coarse grit. It's hard to tell. I did take a little bit of this right after we were finished mixing it to test the, scrubbiness of it and all that. It feels just like, to me anyway, it feels like what I remember that orange scrubby soap feeling like. That it has like it doesn't feel like normal liquid soap. It feels more like maybe like a cream. Feels like a cream, like a hair cream or something. And when you wash with it, you get clean, but there's not a lot of sudsing bubbles. And I imagine that's because of the pumice. Um, it kind of, the pumice would knock the bubbles down, so that makes sense that there's not a whole lot of bubbles. But it definitely left my hands feeling very clean, and so it does work, as works as intended. Might be some little pieces of soap still in here. Yeah, a little piece of soap there. I just need to smash it. So what I may do is come back a couple of times and stick blend it, because I don't want to add more water and dilute it more, because I want this to be thicker. Like, I want this to be a thick consistency. Let me just check what you're saying here, guys. Okay. Yeah, orange snot. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what it looks like. But yeah, it works just like that orange scented paste type soap. So I do like this. I mean, it feels kind of weird when you use it, but um, because it's not a liquid and it's not a solid, so I mean, it is technically a liquid, I guess, but you know what I mean. It doesn't feel like liquid soap feels, but it's not a bar soap. So when you use it, I don't know, it feels strange. But that's how I remember that orange scrubby stuff feeling too. It had like a weird, like I said, it felt like lotion or cream or something. It didn't feel like actual soap, but it got your hands clean, and this definitely does that. It has a really wonderful orange fragrance to it from that orange oil. Let's see what you're saying. Okay, so I think this turned out really good. Um, it's only been sitting for a few days. I've heard that people let it sit longer than that. So I may do that. Also, we should probably at this point put it into some kind of airtight container and then just let it sit. Probably glass would be the best because of the orange oil. Essential oils can sometimes eat through plastics, but certain plastics are okay. So I'm gonna probably look that up and see, since since this is holding a good consistency, it's not separating, and it's not super runny, like it's not liquidy. I think I'll look up what containers we need to put it in. I probably will put it in something clear because what I want to see is if the grit settles to the bottom. And if we let it sit for a few weeks and come back and the grit is all at the bottom, then we'll know that this is too loose and that we need to make this thicker next time. But so far, it seems good, and the the soap that I took from about around the middle of the batch had grit in it, so it doesn't seem to have sink down for that short amount of time. So I'm going to leave this in here. Excuse me. I'm going to leave that here until we get until I find a good container to put it in, and then we will store that, and then we can check back on it in a few weeks and see what it looks like. And I think I will do glass or some kind of see-through container because I want us to be able to look at what's going on. Because I colored it, we can't just look down and see. We need to be able to see from the sides. So this looks pretty good. So let's compare that to the one that we made the other day. See how pale this is? We haven't added any of the extra colors or anything to it yet. And this was the one that I chopped up the pieces of soap so that they would dissolve faster, and that does seem to have helped. Now this is almost like a really loose dough, like a loose bread dough. It does kind of, it's still liquidy enough to pour, but I don't know if you could see the way it kind of webs and stretches. It almost looks like a dough. Um, so I kind of like this consistency. I almost don't want to add any more water to it, especially if you remember when we added the essential oils to that one. The oils caused it. I'm assuming it's from the oils, but it made it more liquidy, and then we had to let it sit to let it thicken up again. So I'm curious. I think what we'll do on this one is instead of adding water to this, maybe just leave this thick like it is. I have been able to stick blend it. I tested that, and that worked. Even though it seems like it would be too thick for that, it did work to stick blend it. Um, so I think that's okay. Let me just see what you guys are talking about here. Uh-oh. Oh, now it's streaming. Uh-oh, did you guys get a glitch? I don't know. My internet service can be kind of spotty sometimes. Okay. Okay. So I think I think I'll wait to add any more water to this until after we've added the oil and just let it sit. And I wanna see what happens basically. I think it'd be kind of fun to have one that was really thick and one that was the other. Like the consistency of the other one is, I wouldn't want it to be any thinner than that. So I want to try this without that, and I do want to add a little bit more of that orange color, so it's not this pale peach. I like that atomic orange color. So let me just grab the orange real quick. Okay. You didn't lose me. Okay. Your computer's on drugs. Maybe it has a. Well, never mind. Okay. Let me open this up. Okay, so I'm going to pour in a little bit more of this orange. Okay. Let's see. That should be good. Okay. We also have to add the preservative still, so we'll do that. And then if you remember last time, I was talking about maybe trying some natural exfoliants like the walnut shell and the ground up orange peel. I still want to do that, but because we're going for two different consistencies in the soap, not just two different ingredients, I think what I'll do is separate off a small amount of the soap, the soap, the soap paste, and we'll make a smaller version with the natural ingredients just in case they do get soft in the soap. I don't think the walnut shells will, but I'm pretty sure, like I haven't used the orange the grated orange peel in a liquid soap before, so it's a test. And since it's a test, I don't want to use up all of this soap paste on a risky test like that, especially if they spoil. So those are two things we have to test for, if they're going to soften and if they'll spoil. But yeah, if they don't, then we'll have kind of a fun option on our hands. Okay, so this is mixing in. It's kind of spotty, as you can see. I also have to put the preservative in, which I'll do now. I've got that already measured out here. And then, you know what, let me weigh it and put the oils in. We'll do that first. Okay. Oops. Trying not to tear my gloves doing this. Okay. All right. A little more. Okay. All right, so we got the orange oil. All right, so that's taken care of. Then I just need to add in the preservative, and then we'll mix this. Okay. Hope you guys are having a great week so far. Mine's been going pretty good. All right. Okay, so this is sort of mixing in. I think I'm going to just use a stick blender to make sure all these like bits of soap and also the color gets mixed in properly. So I'm going to just scrape this off. All right. That's really orange. Okay, here's the stick blender. It's still orange from when I checked it this morning. Let me put this on here. All right. Let's see if we can get this to mix in. Yeah, it looks a lot smoother. It's a lot faster than doing it by hand. A lot of air bubbles, though. That's the only downside. But typically the air bubbles will work themselves out, so that's fine. All right, you can see how runny that got from that oil. So that all has to absorb in. And then it should thicken up like the other one did. But it should get thicker than the other one because this one isn't going to have any more water added to it. Wild couple of weeks, huh? Yeah, I bet you're glad tomorrow is Friday. Friday is always great. Oh no, the vet is terrible for cats. They hate them. Oh good. Glad the checkup went well. It's always scary, you know. It's like, are they going to find something? And then, I mean, you want them to find something in time to fix it, but then you also don't want them to find anything wrong. So, I don't know. Okay, I got that out of there. And try and knock down some of these bubbles. All right, there we go. So what we're going to do is I have this, which I've already cleaned out with rubbing alcohol, so it's sterile. And we're going to pour some of this into here, and this is what we're going to test with that walnut shell and orange peel. So I'll put a little bit in this, see if you can see what I'm doing here. Pour a little bit of that in here. Okay. Okay. There. And so just a little bit, because we're not going to need a whole lot for the test. Let me see if we can get some of those bubbles out. Okay, that's pretty good. And then also what we're going to do is I'm going to mix up the other container first, and then we'll come back to this one because Trying to adjust this camera here. Okay. Anyways, because I don't want to accidentally get anything, like transfer anything from this container to that one. But everything that's going in the other container is what's already in this one, except for maybe some grit will transfer, but that won't affect the test. So I'm going to move all this out of the way. So first, what we're doing is adding. All right, we're going to add in the pumice from before, both kinds. And again, the reason we're doing this is because the other one has more water. The other container has more water than this one. So I'm going to see if we can get it, like if we can get a better consistency with this one, like a thicker consistency, and see if it makes any difference, especially with whether or not the pumice settles to the bottom. So here's that pumice. That's the coarser grit. And this is that finer grit. I feel like it needs a little more than that. That should be all right. And a little more of this too. Okay. All right. He's a happy cat now? Yeah. You know, I bet he is being home since he's not at the doctor's. He's not overweight anymore. Aw. Yeah, it's always good to get compliments from the vet. Okay. I just gently press this down, and then we'll mix it in, and then I might need to stick blend this as well. We'll see. Though I had a thought, if I do use the same spatula, I won't be able to put it back in here, which is really where it needs to go. So maybe I'll just get another spoon or something instead and just keep everything separate. Whoops. Making a mess as always. All right. It's looking pretty good. You can kind of see some areas where it's not evenly dispersed. So I'm going to go ahead and stick blend this. Just make sure we get it all in there. All right, that's much better. Okay. So now this one essentially, as soon as I get all this cleaned up here, this one's essentially done and ready to set and just wait and see what happens. And like I said, we'll give it a few weeks in a container like we were doing with the other one. I may have to wait a couple of days on this one and just stir it and make sure it stays, you know, properly suspended, but I don't think so because the other one I didn't really have to do anything with. Every time I checked it, it seemed about the same. So I might not have to do anything extra for this either. But yeah, you can see how loose this looks. Like it just looks, even without adding any extra water, it has a, I'm trying to show you, but of course the camera. Okay, well I can't really show you because it's too runny, but basically it's runny, which is exactly what happened last time. So I'm pretty sure that's the orange oil doing that. Because when I stick blended it, it did not, like without anything added, it didn't get runny like this. So I'm pretty sure that's what's causing it. And then it'll absorb or do whatever it does, and then it'll thicken up like it did, like the other one did, hopefully. And tap out some of these air bubbles. And also the air bubbles might be causing it to feel looser also. Okay. Break up some of those air bubbles. Okay. All right, so I think I will get a different spoon just so that I can have this, you know, give this one its own dedicated spoon like we were doing. All right, so hopefully what we'll end up with is this batch, which is a little bit thicker than the other one. So we'll have like two thicknesses to choose from. That way, if we make this again in the future, we'll be able to choose like how thick or thin we want the batter. And then, there we go. And then we will also test it with these, I keep wanting to say natural exfoliants, but pumice isn't exactly, I don't think it's chemically made, so that's sort of nonsense. But I mean, like a botanical type scrubby. Teeth paste, yes. Orange slug on the table, yeah. Yeah, you can hear the pumice. It does. It sounds gritty. Yep, I killed the orange slug. There's no place for it here. All right, let me grab the spoon or mixer or something. Oh, I know. We'll use the +1 fork of texture. That'll do good. This is the new +1 fork of texture. It has more of rounded sides than my previous one. I don't know if that's going to affect the patterns I choose to make with it. Also, the two tines in the middle seem closer together or further apart from the ones on the end. I don't know. We'll see. It might turn into my +1 fork of mixing strange things into orange goo. Okay. So here is what the dried orange peel looks like. This is what it looks like after you dry it out. So we'll put maybe about that much in there. It's such a small amount, it doesn't need a lot. I've used this before in my bar soaps. The cat whisker soap used it, and it definitely stayed gritty in that. But of course, it was, bar soap is only a liquid for a short amount of time, and there's not very much liquid in it. It evaporates out and all that. So it worked fine in that. Let's see how this works. Okay, and then this is the walnut shell. I'll put a little bit of that in there. And this I've also used in soaps. The grit soap that I make, that leather and musk grit soap, has this in it, and this works really, really nice. Yeah, dried orange peels. It's like grated orange peel that's dried, and it's really scratchy when it's dry. And since this is an orange soap with orange oils and all that, I figured dried orange peel would keep with the theme. All right. Yeah, that's mixing in really well. I'm not seeing any big clumps. That went in really well, actually. Huh. Smells good. Okay. All right. So that's this one. We're gonna test for two things. We're gonna see if it starts to like grow mold or anything weird, which can happen when you add botanicals to liquid soaps, because anything with water in it. Same thing with like lotions. That's why a lot of times lotions won't have any kind of botanicals in them. It's not because they're trying to be boring. It's because they'll literally rot. Because lotions usually have some kind of water or water type ingredient like milk or something in them, and you have to put a preservative in lotion. That's why lotions have preservatives, because if you didn't, it would just mold and get funky pretty quick. Also, anything that might get water in it. So, um, like maybe there's something that's just oils, but it sits on your bathroom counter because it's in a humid environment. Sometimes it's good to add a preservative to that. Just depends. If it's in a smaller container, you're probably going to use it up before it goes bad. But if it's not, you might want to consider using preservative. Yeah, very interesting. I'm glad you think so. But yeah, see, this has like a very, like, you can see the specks. If the camera would focus. Come on, camera. It's not gonna focus. It hates me. I swear. As soon as I get 1,000 subscribers, I will not have this problem anymore because I'll be able to use my other camera. Okay. So, anyways, but you can hopefully see that this. It almost looks like it has like pepper or something in there, but that's the orange peel and the walnut shells. And I have to clean this off anyway. Yeah, it feels pretty gritty. It doesn't feel the same as the pumice because these grains are like the grit size on this is larger, but it still has a gritty feel. So for people who don't want to use pumice for whatever reason, or if they just like the idea of using, orange peel and walnut shells, this might be an option. We'll see. So I'm sorry. Anyways, what I was saying is we're going to test for two things. One is whether or not this rots, and the other one is whether or not the exfoliants go soft after sitting in this liquidy environment. And I'll go ahead and leave this fork in here for now. And then I'm going to cover this with plastic also. We'll let it sit. And then when we check the other soaps, the next time we check, we'll also check this one and just see how it's going. Um, I mean, to be fair, we probably won't, if it is going to mold, we probably won't see that right away. It'll probably take a few weeks, especially with the preservative in there and all that. So this will probably become a very long experiment. This is probably going to be sitting around for a while. Um, and also once I know, like after I mix this in and, test it and everything, once I'm sure that it doesn't need to be stirred anymore, so probably in the next few days, I'll go ahead and take this fork out just to make sure that the stirring motion isn't affecting the experiment. And we'll just let it sit like it would in a container, just like this. Maybe put it in something airtight, or maybe not, because maybe exposing it to the air will encourage mold, and that will give us a better result if it's going to mold. Yep. And I'm rambling again. Yeah, science experiments. Yeah, exactly. I mean, because honestly, if somebody wanted this, if somebody would prefer orange peels and walnut shells just because they like the botanicals better, um, I want to be able to say, oh, that's a bad idea because it's on mold, or I want to be able to say, oh yeah, I've tested it. I had it for X number of months and it never molded, and be able to be confident about this because um, sometimes you just don't know until you try something, and you can go off the opinions of other people, but you don't know what they did in their experiments. And they might not soap the same way as you. Not everything. There's a lot of things out there where it's not like a hard right or wrong answer. And soaping is kind of like that. Like you can make cold process liquid soap, or you can make it the hot process method. You can use different oils. And different things give you different results. And things like the humidity of the area that you're in, how warm or cold it is. I mean, to be fair, like in the winter, this probably wouldn't mold. If it's going to mold, it probably won't mold as fast as it would like in the summer, especially somewhere humid. So that's why I want to give this a few months, maybe give it at least like 6 months or something to be sure that it's not going to mold. Because then we'll get a wide range of like humidity and temperatures to test it against. But yeah, I think for now, other than just showing you guys how it looks in the jar and all that, I think this project is done. The liquid soap should probably sit for, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks to um, just for it to kind of finish whatever processing it's going to do. And then we'll be able to check, we'll be able to see if the color sank to the bottom, if the exfoliant sank to the bottom. We'll be able to see if the consistency stayed the same. And we'll be able to test like the lather test, even though there's probably not going to be a whole lot of lather. But we'll be able to test that. So this we probably won't really look at other than just updates. Again, so probably next live I'll be doing either a cat soap, or maybe we can do like one of the little um say forest animals, but that wasn't little critter soaps. Might be do something cute like that. Weird science. Yeah. Yeah, I guess this counts as weird science. Let's see if it molds. Super exciting. I wonder what happens if you put hot dogs in soap. All the things we could be doing. Because there's a big demand for hot dog soap. I do care about your future, make you learn new stuff. I mean, I don't know. I think it's fun to learn things. I mean, if we just kind of sit and never learn anything, and I don't know, I would get bored after a while. I assume other people. What? No dog? No hot dog? Oh yeah, hot dog soap. Yeah, yeah. Why not? I mean, it'd probably be really gross. There's no demand for hot dog soap that I'm aware of. Of course, I don't think anybody's made it either. So maybe that's what I should just be doing. Be one of those content creators where they're like, I turned weird stuff into pasta or whatever, and they have some, instead of be weird stuff into soap. That might be kind of fun. Just every week have a different like weird soap we make. Start with hot dogs. Ian will try it. Yeah, Ian, hot dogs don't count as a fragrance, right? I could even make them into little train shapes for you. Might be hard to keep animals from eating the soap if it smells like hot dogs. I don't know that the fragrance would really carry over because you can only add a certain percentage of like non-soap things to soap before it starts to fall apart. I think the amount of hot dogs you'd have to add would be so high to get the fragrance to carry over. Plus, it would be all ground up because I'd be stick blending it. So it would be more like cooked hamburger, like hot dog pate in soap. It'd be all mixed in. And other foods that I've added to soap before, they don't really like the fragrance of the food doesn't typically come out except for something extremely fragrant like coffee. If I add a lot of coffee to a soap, um, there will be some coffee fragrance, and of course essential oils, although those are like highly concentrated. I just see what you're saying here. Rub hot dogs on your armpits. That sounds nasty. Yeah, I would have to grind it up, Patty, for sure. Or do you mean the coffee? Coffee, I use coffee grounds usually. Sometimes coffee water, like brewed coffee isn't. Yeah, coffee water, brewed coffee. You can use that. Um, I like to leave the coffee grounds in it because then you get the exfoliants from the coffee grounds. This conversation is getting a bit gross, a little bit. Ruined coffee like that. I don't know. I don't think it's really ruined. I mean, besides, I wasn't using American coffee, so I don't know if that counts as being un-American. I used a little bit of Tim Hortons coffee, Timmy's as it's called. That's pretty Canadian as far as I'm aware. Maybe it's not, but I think it is. But a lot of people like coffee soap. They like the smell of coffee a lot. Um, and then if you take a shower in the morning and then you have your morning coffee, then you're surrounded by coffee. Yeah, coffee is a lifestyle. Yeah, I'll admit that like I never really got I tried really hard getting into coffee, and everybody I know drinks coffee, and I just wanted to like fit in and whatever, and that just anytime I ever try to fit into anything, it's an utter failure. So I I just learned to give up on that, but I couldn't stand it. I couldn't drink it. And for whatever reason, every time I had coffee, I got really tired afterwards. Like I could not stay asleep. I was falling asleep at work and just struggling. And I don't know why. So maybe there's just something about the coffee that my body is rejecting, but I figure that just leaves more for everybody else. To keep you from killing people. I know, right? I used to drink a lot of tea though, but now the tannin in the tea starts to upset my stomach, so I had to give that up. So I'm down to licorice. Licorice is the last. It's my last joy in life. Hopefully it doesn't betray me. But yeah. So I tried to like coffee, but the coffee didn't like me and I was sad about it, but I did try. I found that like going to some place like Starbucks or something and ordering a breve, which is basically like heavy whipping cream with a shot of coffee in it. Um and then asking for like 10 pumps of vanilla or something. I could sometimes then like drink it, but I still just felt sick afterwards, so I I don't know. There's something about it my stomach doesn't like. And it's not just the coffee anymore, now it's the tea too. So I think there's just something about I don't know, there's just something in those drinks that my stomach isn't happy about. Maybe I have ulcers or something and I'm not aware. Yeah, drink my share for me, Patty. Somebody ought to. It's just gonna go to waste if it comes to me. Stacy doesn't like coffee either. I like the smell of it. Like, I like those grocery stores that still have the coffee grinders in them. With the like, I think you know what I'm talking about. Like, it has the dispensers, like the bulk dispensers of coffee, and you like fill your own bag, and then you can pour it into the grinder. Oh, that aisle smells so good. I was so disappointed. Like as a kid, I used to walk down there and just walk by and smell it, and when I got older, I was like, I can't wait to taste coffee because it smells so good. I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed. I was dreaming of all the mixes I would make, like a little bit of the vanilla coffee beans mixed with a little bit of the, whatever coffee beans, and I could grind it together and make my own blends. No, no. Oh, you don't even like the smell of it, Stacy? Oh man. I do like the smell. I just can't have it. Sometimes I wish that food had that effect on me. Like I like the smell, but it made me feel sick. Then I wouldn't eat so much of it. But we can't have everything, I suppose. At least we have the um. At least I will say the one good thing about it is at least I'm not tempted to like spend $10 a day going through Starbucks drive-through or something because that would be a horrible. For me, that would be like a horrible temptation every time I left the house. Like, oh, I've got to get my Starbucks. I would always be more poor than usual. So that would be terrible. I don't need that problem in my life. So that's a good thing, but it sucks on the other hand. Um, I can't drink coffee with friends. They're like, oh, let's go have coffee together. I'm like, I'll go and get some water. And, they just think, I don't know what they think, but hopefully they don't think I'm being rude because I swear I would drink it if I could. I'm just going to clean this off here. Thinking I might leave this off on the side because I don't know how sturdy this fork is. I don't want the essential oils to melt the plastic. Come on. This is not very effective. Okay. Okay, there we go. Hot chocolate, yeah. Yeah, hot chocolate's pretty good. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna leave that and then I'll come back. The nice thing is like you can see the well, it's kind of moving, but hopefully you can see that the dots aren't like all collected at the bottom. So right now they're staying suspended. This looks so thick, I don't think it will sink down, but you never know. We'll have to test it. That's the only way we'll know. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get this covered, and then we will be back on Monday to make either one of the little critter, like woodland critter soaps or cat soap or something. Be fun. We'll come up with a cute little design. And if you guys have any requests for any soaps, definitely leave them in the comments. Because I love to make your guys' requests. That's the most fun. So just let me know if there's any ideas you guys have. And the soaps that we've already made a few weeks ago, the ones that are ready to like they're done curing and stuff, those should be ready in the next week or two, and I can start posting those also. So we got like the bunny soap and the wolf soap, and just looking over to see what else we have. There's a few others. Oh, the round ones that we made. Yeah, I think there was something else, but I gotta go look at my list and make sure I'm not. Oh, and the animal print one. So there should be a few more. So have a good night, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. This is a lot of fun, and I'll see you guys Monday. Have a good night.